Hello, 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 hello. Welcome back, everybody. I am Rob.
And I'm Rob.
And that's little Rob, right there. That's little baby girl Rob right there. Yeah, and as you can tell, we've been away for a while, and there's why. Rob kind of had a baby. Well, he didn't have a baby, but you know what?
Yeah.
He's a dad now. All right, right. And so I started a new job. Rob's a dad now. So a lot of life changing things. We really haven't been on this whole podcast thing because it happens. Life happens, right? Game plan is I actually have some videos in the hole ready to go that I'm gonna probably be uploading here soon. So look out for those as well. But now we're gonna be back on the grind. We're gonna give this a good old college try, and she's adorable. She really, really is. What's her name, Rob?
Luna May.
Luna May. Luna May. Luna May. Welcome to the podcast, Luna May. You're going to be our first guest on our time back. All right. She works a full-time job, sleeping, eating, pooping. And so it basically sounds like our life. Like we live to eat, sleep, and then work. Right. Anyway. But yeah. So how's dad life treating you, Rob?
It's actually really good. It's really good. I mean, she does decently well with sleeping through the night. Couple of nights there where she's a little more fussy than others, but she does well through the night.
And she's what, 2 months old now? 1 month old?
She was 1 month exactly yesterday.
Well, happy month anniversary.
1 month and a day.
Happy month anniversary, little baby. Yeah, so I started a new job with my company. It's more of a clinical role, not a provider role. So it's a little interesting concept. And I believe, Rob, you're back with the sports grind, aren't you?
Yes. So we started back with kind of a like pretty much like a hybrid conditioning / game type season type kind of thing.
Okay, and how is that going?
It's pretty well, actually. I mean, I honestly feel like some of the teams go a little bit harder than they would if it was just a regular season, which is a little weird for me. Like, my girls' soccer team got just obliterated with injuries for really no good reason, because the games don't really count. They're all labeled as scrimmages.
Yeah.
So it's like, guys, I don't know why you're going so hard. Like, I understand why you're going so hard, but at the same time, I don't understand why you're going so hard, because if you really mess yourself up now, come February when they're telling us we're actually going to have a real season, you're not going to be able to play.
But you also got to understand, these kids have been cooped up since March, right? Like no
Right.
real outlet. Like, this is just pent up energy they're just releasing. And I think a lot of it's also the fact that you're seeing this in the NFL, you're seeing this in professional sports. More injuries are happening now because of the lack of preseason, the lack of off-season training. And that goes doubly for the high school athletes who, they were probably using the school facilities to work out, playing another sport. The spring athletes didn't even get a season. So now when they're transitioning to fall athletes, they didn't have their warm-up season. So you're going to see the more injuries. Now, the increased effort is really, really where I have the interest in, though. And I just have to probably just equate that to they've been pent up for 8 months, 9 months, and just need an outlet now. And now you're seeing that at the back end. But precaution wise, are you guys taking extra precautions for everything going on? Like, what's been your school's game plan for this?
Yeah, so pretty much all of what Cecil County is doing is Cecil County, Maryland. So pretty much what they're doing is I have to go check in the main office before I even go in and do anything. So I go in, we do one of the questionnaires: fever, cough, diarrhea, vomiting, all the normal symptoms that we're figuring out go along with COVID. To do that, I do a temperature check, and then when the athletes come in, they're checking with their coaches. Um, Pretty much just the questionnaire. I haven't seen coaches doing a temperature check. I'm pretty sure if they wanted to, they could.
Okay.
But they're doing a screening of the questionnaire, and then masks if you're within 6. So on my end, it's a mask. I'm in a mask if I'm within 6 feet of an athlete or a coach or anybody like that.
Right.
If I'm not within 6 feet of them, it's really my choice whether I want to wear it at that time or not.
Are your athletes having to wear
and
masks?
then for the yeah, so for the athletes and the coaches, whenever they're on the sidelines for games, or if they're not participating in something at practice, like they're waiting for, whatever, they are to be wearing masks. When they go in the game, they can take the mask off and kind of toss it on the bench, kind of thing. But then again, once they come off the field, they have to go on and put the mask on while they're on the sideline.
That's interesting.
And then at practice, kind of the same thing. When they're participating in drills, no mask. But if they're just kind of like standing around, they have to be 6 feet, masks on, that sort of thing.
So when they're closer together within full contact of each other, they don't have to be wearing masks. But when they're off the field, not in full contact with each other and 6 feet apart, they have to be wearing masks.
I've had this exact conversation literally probably 100 times with my AD already.
Okay. I just want to make sure that I'm processing that correctly. Okay, cool.
Yes, you are.
Okay.
And we've both had the same reaction.
Okay.
So here's the fun part about this. Football had started at 7v7.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's their normal
football.
That's their normal off season, like their summer training camps anyway. 7v7 linemen do the lifting.
So this past Monday, we found out that starting this past Monday, football is going to be finishing out their last week and then this week of the 7v7 season. And then they're going to be going into a kind of 4-game scrimmage season where the first 2 scrimmages are going to be, kind of set up like 7v7, but in full pads. So they'll have, hey, you guys run 10 plays, or you guys run plays for 10 minutes. Then you're on defense 10 minutes, flip flop twice, and we're done. The last 2 scrimmages are going to be run exactly like if they were a game. So same thing in that instance, though. When they're on the field, don't have to wear masks. When they're on the sideline, they have to be in a mask.
Okay, gotcha.
And 6 feet apart.
Okay, all right.
Which I understand we're trying to follow guidelines here and everything, but I feel like if we're telling the kids, hey, you can literally tackle somebody and lay on top of them.
And then as soon as you get off, you have to put your mask on.
But then as soon as you get off the field and you're not doing that, you don't have to wear a mask, or you have to wear a mask. And it's like, I don't.
Yeah.
I understand the one part of it, but then at the same time, like we're being counterproductive at that point. Then.
Yeah. Have you what's the phrasing for this? Hey girl. Any extra, are you seeing any extra work on your part? Like any increase, like stuff you have to be doing that you're just kind of like, this is another thing I have to do now, on top of everything I already had to do as the solo athletic trainer for a high school?
Not really. I mean, other than like making sure that every time I see an athlete, whether they're on my treatment table or if they end up, out at the field and get hurt, and I evaluate them on like the back of the golf cart that I have, really just making sure that I wipe those surfaces down every time.
Okay, so a little extra cleaning, little couple extra questions. So nothing.
Yeah.
Okay.
But nothing out of hand. So instead of wiping it down like at the end of the night when I leave, it's okay, I'm wiping it down every time an athlete leaves.
Yeah.
Which I've also been seeing at least up until this point, I've been seeing fewer athletes because with the season not counting, not as many have come out.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and you're gonna get the ones that just really want to. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's really the ones that just really want to play, and those are the athletes that if it's a little nick or bump, they're like, whatever, I'm gonna run through it. Like,
right.
It's not gonna bother me.
Go ahead.
Go.
Um,
Whereas, some of the athletes that aren't as committed to it, they get that little knicker bump and they're going to come over, hey,
yeah. So you're getting the one. You're getting
it's
the.
bothering
You're
me
getting the hockey player athletes.
until the drill that they don't want to do is done, and then they're like, oh, I'm good, and they go back out.
Right. Now, what I think, I don't remember which county in Maryland it was that they just closed down. I think it's neighboring to Cecil County. They just closed down their school districts, because of a COVID outbreak. So, and I know a couple places in Delaware having some positive, some teachers testing positive, some students testing positive, and stuff like that. What's the game plan for, like, what's in your EAP for, heaven forbid, the school shuts down, like your district shuts down? I guess sports shut down, right? But like, if somebody on one of your teams tests positive, what's the game plan for you guys? Do you have one in place yet, or are you currently working on one, or what's your mindset on that?
Yeah, so our game plan kind of came down from the Cecil County and the Maryland health departments, and they were pretty much like, hey, if an athlete becomes symptomatic during practice or a situation like that, the game plan is to let me know. I'll come out, kind of screen them, but at that case, at that point in that case, if they're having symptoms that mirror any of the symptoms that are COVID related, we're just kind of playing it super conservative and saying, hey, let's go get tested for this. We're isolating the player from the rest of that practice.
Yeah. Call mom and dad.
Calling mom and dad saying, hey, let's get them tested. Mm-hmm. It's encouraged that the rest of the team at that point get tested, but it's not mandatory. That's a little bit of a sticky point for me, but so at that point it's not mandatory. Now, if their first test comes back negative, I believe they have to wait 24. It's either 24 or 48 hours. I don't remember off the top of my head, but they have to wait 24 or 48 hours, go get retested.
Oh,
if that one comes back negative,
they're good to go.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if that one comes back negative, they're good to go. They can come back in. If one of those come back positive, they have to do the 14-day quarantine. They have to do, or I believe it says 10-day
and that doesn't trigger like a whole team test for a positive test. Like, because I could see getting the two negatives not triggering like a whole team-wide test, but like I'd figure if you're quarantining one person, that should be. Again, I'm not the health, like I'm not the CDC, I'm not the Maryland Department of Health, but like. Common sense wise, I would for a positive test, and especially on a football team or on like a soccer team, something like that, and feasibility of it, right? I get it. Like, it's hard to test all these players, especially because of the amount of testing available. I've had patients be like, yeah, I got tested 2 weeks ago, I still have my results. Did you quarantine those 2 weeks? Yeah, well, the quarantine's over. Like, the whole point of anyway, but okay, so there are some plans in place, which is promising. It is. Now, are your kids school-wise, are they back in full time, or are they hybrid?
They're beginning like a hybrid.
Okay.
And I believe this week they're kind of ramping it up a little bit more.
Okay.
So they've been hybrid since the beginning of this month.
Okay.
Where they and actually I think it's since the beginning of this school year, they started with they took like a group of like 20 freshmen, 20 sophomores, juniors, seniors. They took 20 of each, kind of placed them in the school, said, hey, let's see how this is going. I think they did that for the first month, and then beginning of this month they ramped it up, saying, okay, let's take a few more students from each class, put them in for 2 days a week, and see how that goes. Right. And then I believe at the end of this month they're going to try to ramp it up to even a little bit more than that, and see how it goes. But other than that, yeah, they're pretty much hybrid, because even while they're in school, they're still doing everything on the computer. Right. There's no like teacher to student teaching going on. Everything that they're getting in school is the same thing that
And then
the kids that are doing virtual at home.
that's interesting. Now, so that, I mean, that might also explain the decrease of people out there too. It's just the availability of transportation to the fields and whatnot. It may not necessarily be due to a lack of athlete effort. It might just be due to a lack of reliable transportation to school now, right? Because like the buses aren't taking, they're not getting buses to practice, right?
No.
Okay.
So there's no buses to practice. Nobody is taking a bus to and back to the school, to and from a game. Everybody has to have their own transportation to the games and then back home. So yeah, I think that's definitely plays a big role, especially with Cecil County being a more blue collar county, and especially in the
parents
town
are working,
that
parents are
the high school is in. It's a very blue collar area, very farmland. So it's one of those where it's like parents can't just take off work and work from home, and you know, get the kid, just be able to bring the kid to
football practice,
after school activities, which is understandable for the parents. Like and I get that, but then that would definitely play into why we're having decreased numbers and that sort of thing.
And you know, it's I find it super interesting, the fact that like I'm gonna call out some things here, and this is probably gonna, if people end up watching this podcast, people are gonna rub some people the wrong way, but I don't frankly care. A lot of these places have programs or had plans in place, and I think the fact that some of the pressure changed the plans in place really rubs me the wrong way. For example, Delaware, they were like, they had a plan, they had a good plan. They're like, we're gonna start in January, 6 weeks winter, 6 weeks fall, 6 weeks spring. Cool. Now there was some pressure to get things back sooner. Now we're getting things back sooner. Now we're seeing schools with positive tests. Now I'm not directly correlating the two. I'm not 100% not. I don't think they're connected at all. They could be. I can't say for certain either way. But you know, if a school gets shut down because they were closed for COVID, right? What happens to the games that were on their schedule already? I mean, they rush back, and that, and I believe the highest spike in cases was last Friday that we've had. My device will restart update outside active hours. Thanks, computer. Appreciate it. I'm glad that's going to make it on the podcast. Anyway, whole nother point. All right, now we're going to get selfish here. We're going to talk about me a little bit. All right, so I recently started a new position in my company. It's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool position. It actually pays a little bit more too, which than what I was making with sports medicine. The job itself is interesting. It's a hybrid, basically tech and front desk position. So I'm doing a lot of paperwork, but I'm also doing a lot of like patient help and cleaning and clinic setup and stuff like that. I'll tell you what though, it's nice because the hours are regular. I get to, you know, it's more. It's not bad. It's not bad. I can't commit to say this is going to be 100% what I'm going to be doing for the rest of my life. I probably find myself at some point getting back into on the field or something like that, but I'm just waiting till I have an issue with the state of sports medicine right now, to where it's so in flux with everything going on right now. I'd rather take this that's more of a given than, you know, necessarily risk going back now and then being furloughed another week or so. So
right, it's more secure at the moment.
Correct, right. And job security. I mean, everybody likes job security, but like this for me is probably the most secure because like I got student loans, I got car loans, I got rent. Everybody does, but like I'm pretty sure almost every athletic trainer does. I miss the field though. I do miss covering football games. I do miss covering like soccer events, stuff like that. I'll tell you what I don't miss though. I don't miss the minutia, the small little day-to-day like shenanigans. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's and I guess that's everybody at every job. You like the big stuff. You don't care for the small stuff too much, but we'll see. I'll probably find my way back to sports med at some point down the line. Whether it be with my current company or not, we'll see. But I can't see myself staying away from the field for too long. Then, I got taking care of a puppy. Rob's got a puppy and a child now, so that's a lot of work. Your dog's how old now, right? 1.5?
He's just about a year and a half.
Okay,
yeah.
how's he liking the baby?
Dude, he loves her.
Cool.
He absolutely loves her. Like it's more of a hassle trying to get him to not lick her because she's sleeping and we don't want her to wake up than it is for us to be like, hey, get used to the baby. And I think part of that is because we spent the 9 months while Maddie was pregnant and said, hey, when the baby comes, this is, kind of what we want you to do. I told him, I was like, hey, when the baby comes, when daddy's not around, you need to protect her, that kind of thing.
Right.
And then once we found out it was a girl and we had her name picked out, we would continuously kind of tell him her name, like when Luna comes, Luna comes. And so when we came home and we had her in the car seat and we set her down on the coffee table so he can come over and not pounce, but would be at eye level with him. We're like, all right, hey, here's Luna. And he was like, oh, this is my baby. And it's like, it's not really your baby. But yes,
nope, this is mine. Sorry, this is not yours anymore. This will be Wolfchild.
Oh yeah, and that's pretty much how he's tried to act. Oh, well, this is my baby. What do you why are you guys holding her so much? And it's like, no, dude, that's not how this works.
No, that's how it's gonna work. I hope you understand that she's gonna like that. Your child's gonna like your dog more than you. I'm sorry to admit.
100%. I'm pretty sure he likes my child.
I was gonna say, I think I like your dog more than you anyway. So there's, that's not anything new.
That's probably not a bad assessment either.
All right. So I think that's all we got for this week's episode. That was a pretty good one. We made it, decent amount of time. We're gonna have some future topics come up. Like I said, I have some videos in the hole that I just need to finish quick editing. I have my fun one that I've teased out, the video game ATC one. I think I might try to crank that one out sometime next week, and we'll get going. In the meantime, if you guys liked the content, like and subscribe up above or wherever it is nowadays, because YouTube changes things so much. If you have a topic you want to hear us talk about, comment down below. We leave the comments open. I make sure to check them whenever I can. If there's any social media we're on it. Send us a like, send us a retweet, send us a follow. Doesn't matter. Just keep supporting us. We love you guys. On that note, I'm Rob.
And I'm Rob.
And this is Sports Medicine with the Robs. Appreciate it. Have a wonderful evening.